Hey guys, how's it going? SoCal here. Going to be doing a caliber change here on our 1050. Well, one or the other. This is going to be on this one here. Going to be setting it up to do some 223. But currently it's set up to do 556, so I don't really have to change a whole bunch on it. The shell plate's going to stay. That's already set up to work for 223. Same case as for the most part. So this is going to stay put, but what we're going to do is get this tool head off and swap it out for the tool head that's already set up to do 223. The first thing that we're going to need to do is pull this nut off, and after you do that you have to kind of be careful. This thing's under pretty intense pressure from this spring back here. Trying to get a good view of it. That spring is what provides the lift on the tool head when you're on the upstroke. So let me find a good place for this camera and I'll show you what we're going to do. Alright, so we have a 15/16 socket driver here. You could also use a wrench. Just gonna get that loosened up, and really it's just to that first pop, and then other than that just slides right on out. Pretty easy. It's a pretty hefty bolt here, and a washer that you're dealing with. I just set all my parts in my tray here. Okay, so this is a hard part. This is probably the worst part. What you're going to do is bring the handle back. This shaft is going to start to slip out of the top of this. At the same time, the spring underneath here is going to start wobbling. What you're going to want to do is, you can see this little pin here. You're going to have to like push down and twist to get that pin out of that area back there. And I don't know if you guys can, I can show you this without it being retarded looking, but yeah, what you're trying to do is get that pin out of there by rotating the whole tool head, and then that spring is going to want to just send that tool head flying to one side or another. I'll try to do it as graceful as I can here. So you're going to be lowering. There goes the shaft. Just lower that down, set it, and then we're going to just twist. And I do this every single time, actually. There's a pin, a cotter pin on the back here that you've got to remove. That is the safety for the powder system. So it pulls the bar back closed. You got to remember to do that. Undo that rather. Okay, so we're just kind of floating here, and then I'm just going to kind of pull up, wiggle. Where are we stuck here? Kind of struggling with this part back here. You can see how the spring wants to shush. The spring wants to just send this tool head straight up and away. And there we go. And we're off. 223 set up. Okay, so normally when I have this apart, I'll just kind of do a quick inspection. It's always handy to have this canned air for computers, especially like down in here where that spring came from. Good to blow that out. Get in here. Knock all that stuff away. It's good also to have a paintbrush that you can just kind of get in here and dust, clean all the little parts out. And also what I'll do on this is just grab, I'll use gun oil, Extreme Weapons lube, and just coat it. Get some on your fingers and then just coat it. And that's more of a preservative than anything else. It's not necessary. And then we're just basically going to repeat this process. Another thing I'll do, you'll see all the powder that gets kind of up on here. I just hit that a couple times and knock it loose. Drop it back in the hole. The spring doesn't matter which way you put it in. It's both same dimensions in both directions, so you're good there. The only thing you want to check now is the this post. This is where the spring goes. You just want to make sure it comes with grease on it. If there's not much, you want to add some. Also, you want to add some grease to this part here if need be. Other than that, you just repeat this process now. Just shaft through the spring. I want to make sure that this thing goes back behind this lever. Yep, there we go. Yeah, there we go. We'll push down and make sure that we get that in there. Alright, so we got this post connected. Yeah, alright. It's been a while since I did this, so kind of remembering how this is done. And then we're going to raise our unit and just kind of shimmy it on in. Hold that up. That supports the tool head. Throw our nut in it, or bolt rather. And bada bing, bada boom. That's really all there is to it. Let's get a good tighten on this. You don't want to over tighten it, just get it nice and snug. Put the shell case guide back in. And our feed tube for the shell plate, or the shells. It's really about it. Alright, so we're only gonna drop a couple of those in there. The tube, already got them lubed. They're already cleaned previous. Let's see how we go here. Alright, before we go getting all nuts, we're going to first check that our primer pocket is where we would like it, and it's already been decrimped, or decapped rather. We've been sized, so we're going to check to make sure that the sizing die is where we like it. This case is a little long, but live with it. I'm just going to take that guy out. Now we're going to run it through the swager. Just want to make sure that it actually does contact. Oh my goodness, shut up. That it does contact, and it is indeed swaging. We're going to pull it off the shell plate and just look. This is a military case, so it's going to be very difficult to see. But, come on, focus. Okay, so See if we can focus on that. You see the little, right at 6 o'clock on that case, little plus sign. It means it's a NATO case, and it has been crimped, the primer pocket that is, so we're just looking for that. Looks good. Pull this case, run it to the next one. This will be the priming. We'll just check our primer, make sure that it's not tall. Looks like it's flush. So now we can one thing I've noticed with Dillon powder measures, they run a little fat, so to speak. You have to really cycle them about 3 times before they start pouring accurately. So what I do normally is I'll have my scale out and I'll dump a charge and then pull it and just dump it into a container. I won't even measure it at this point. And then I just repeat that process a couple of times. And either that or I'll pour it right back into the hopper. And on this one I'll measure it just to see, and just so you know, you can tell I did dump the first one. Let me show you guys this. I don't know if you can read that, but 26.4 grains. Not even close to what I'm shooting for here. Should be closer to 25. And that's not a huge difference, but there we go. 24.8 grains. That's closer to what we want. So, in fact, I'm not even going to try to get that back in there. I'm just going to pour it right back in my hopper and let the machine do it for me. Let's do one more time. Should be right around 25. 25.2. Alright. So from about here, I'm pretty confident that this thing is going to start dumping right around where we want to be. So I'll fill her up one more time. Then I'm going to eyeball. Let's get you back on topic here. I'm going to eyeball my powder alarm here, see if it's locked in. That's within tolerance. And then I'll drop a bullet on there. And before I crimp it, I'm going to just visually inspect it. I'm also going to get out my calipers. And make sure that we are where we want to be. And of course they're dead, so I will have to visually adorn it. So what am I looking for? We are at 2.2. Something. And overall length I have written up here actually on a note that I left myself right there. It says that we should be dialed up around 2.227, and we are there. 2.27 something. So that's right about where we want to be. Throw it in the popper one more time. We're definitely within spec. I'm pleased with that. Even a little cantilever is showing on this bullet. I didn't mean... You can see the cantilever just kind of hanging out. Right there. I could dial this in just a little bit more, but I don't think we need to. And then last, we'll run it through the crimp. And don't let the machine pinch your finger off. I'm going to feel that, make sure it's nice and smooth. Case gauge it one more time. There we go, 223. Repeat. So at this point, I can be pretty confident that the machine's ready to go. And what I'll do is just run a 5, check each 5 as they come off. And if those all look good, I can be confident that I can start running with some good quantities, and then just check about every 50 to 100 bullet. So 1 out of 100 I might check, or 1 out of 50. So that's about it, guys. That's how it works. Let's load some up.